also developed a niche market where we are working with governments in the emerging markets, places in Caribbean, South America, and Africa in particular, to develop trade and commerce, build civil infrastructure projects such as roads, water and sewage facilities, alternative energy, such as photovoltaic energy grids, and looking to bring some of those skills here back into our community, to help those who are looking to be their own independent leaders, to take up the charge and go out there and to be entrepreneurs and to come into the community to provide not just services to the communities, but to build an infrastructure that will be able to help support global trade and commerce amongst our people. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we're not understanding. Here in the United States, we're about 22, 23 million, but in South America, we're probably about 220 million. And if you include the Caribbean, that's another 15 million.
Wow.
So we're definitely not a minority per se. It's the perception, and we have to move beyond the perception of seeing ourselves as being in a microcosm and living under this minority title that we've been given. The African continent is growing leaps and bounds.
That's right.
However, many of the governments that we work with are looking to work with our people. They're looking to work with African Americans in particular to come and help with the rebuilding of the cities. Currently, we're working with 8 governments on the continent. And those governments are seeking housing to be developed. They're seeking roads to be built to foster trade within specific regions. They're also looking to build their infrastructure so that they can accommodate the new inflow of business and tourism in terms of their airport being expanded, their harbors being deepened so that larger ships can come in. And so we're part of that frontier in thought leadership and paving the way for our young people to come behind us to be the next generation of leaders that will be able to take up the mantle and continue where we're starting off, because this is virgin frontier for us, and we're looking to work with young people who are eager to express their creativity and their genius, their natural genius.
Wow, that is very interesting. That is awesome. I mean, it's so good to hear that organizations such as the ones that you represent are definitely looking to do so much, working within our own, back door, so to speak, in our communities. With a lot of the listeners that are out there, one question comes to mind, and I know it's just probably a lot of the questions that my listeners might be wondering. What exactly would an individual or a group of individuals need to do to get in line with, getting involved with a lot of these projects that you described?
It's a commitment, personal commitment, but also a passion for what it is that they do. If you're not passionate about what it is that you're doing, it's not going to pan out, and it's going to feel like a job. And what I do doesn't feel like a job. It's my life passion. And so I approach it, I live it, I eat it, and I breathe it 7 to 8 days a week. It's part of me. And so whatever skill or talent that you may possess, we at Nova Business Capital Advisors, are seeking people that will come in with their creative energies, and we can find a place for you, whether it's working in trade and commerce or working with advising a minister of housing to build 3,000 housing units. Maybe you're an architect or a graphic designer of some sort, and you may have some of those skills that we may need to do some prototyping, those skills are very much needed and necessary. And we know a lot of our young people are very talented and very creative visually, and we need to incorporate some of that. We need to put proposals together, presentations. So that would require both audio and visual presentations. So we know we have young people in our community that have those skills. We want to be able to tap those down as well. But to also show there is life beyond the borders of the United States. Even though it is also very important for us to build and fortify community here, the important thing for us to understand also, we need to make those international connections and inroads. This is how we as African people have always lived and built our empires, through trade and commerce. Many of us don't know that there are copper mines in Minnesota that Africans have been mining for centuries, have mined for centuries.
Wow, that
the
is
importance of understanding our history and the legacy that we've left behind throughout the world, in Europe, in Asia, on the continent, and here in the United States. If we understand that not everyone came here in shackles, that there were Africans here before the Europeans came, and we've been here for 6,000 years, and it's documented. So if we understand that, and that we understand that we are a magnificent people, a gracious people, and to be able to begin the process of lifting the veil.
They're no longer states. The treaty was up. They got out. All right. I'm kind of going through a lot of things right now, and okay. All right. The law is used by people in their proper person. When you walk into the courtroom, you should always have your paperwork precede you. Don't walk in there without first having submitted some document to the court to let them know that, yes, I'm coming. And look in the law dictionary and look up the definition of come. It's different than appear. Now, you can come to the courtroom, all right, and make a special appearance. You understand? Never you get the subpoena or whatever it is in the newspaper, and don't believe all this other stuff where they tell you don't go to court if you get these papers, because they will put a manhunt out for you, and you do not need that, and there's no reason for you not to go. You should go. You should go, and the more of us that do go and challenge the jurisdiction and let them see we're not scared because we're standing on the square, they will stop calling you to court, right? Because the people who operate in their proper person, and the more and more of us that go in there operating in our proper person, they're going to begin to see the game is up. The secret's out. We can't do this anymore, all right? Justice died upon the cross. What does that mean? I'm no artist. That is the cardinal points of the zodiac. Cardinal, as in Catholic Church, cardinal. They are your deacons of the zodiac. Deacons, as in the Christian church. They are your cardinal points. And they apply to everything you do. Who you are, your character, everything that surrounds you, your environment, the country where you live, everything is affected by the different signs of the zodiac. When justice died on the cross, here's what happened. That's our solar system, and that's the sun in the middle. And that's Earth, the third rock from the sun, which is its planetary position. That's not its name. And its planetary position will be changing, is changing every day. And it's speeding up and getting closer and closer to the sun until it will occupy the second position, rock from the sun. This is the natural life cycle of a planet. And all the planets are coming in, and then more planets are being created out further beyond Pluto. So what they call the greenhouse effect is the natural heating up of the planet. And all those who cannot meet the heat requirement as the planet heats up will be eliminated from the planet.
Assalamu alaikum, shalom, peace to everyone. This is a brief introduction before the actual show that is to come up. We're joined with a man named Eric Lovely, who is a real pioneer in the sovereignty movement. And I will warn everyone that the interview is actually a bit advanced. And so what I would suggest is that everybody go watch Bushwhack's Slavery by Consent series. It's an excellent series. It's actually, he's in the process of doing it, but I think he's up to part 5 at this moment. And it will give you an introduction, a nice introduction to the concept of the sovereignty movement. And after you watch that, for those of you who really understand how intensely serious this issue is, please come back and listen to this more advanced discussion with this gentleman, Eric Lovely, who's been fighting this fight for over a decade. So, basically just a quick explanation of what the sovereignty movement is about is essentially sort of separating our sentient being, which is our sovereign soul, our sovereign self. No government should rule over us. Only God rules over us. And we are the bosses of governments, essentially, and we set them up as a convenience for ourselves, yes? And somehow, governments, people are power hungry, and they've used governments, of course, to flip that all around and make us the subjects of them, much like a king would with his subjects, correct? So, people think they're living in this democracy and they get to vote and all these things, and it's really rather comical, and all you have to do is look around the world and see that that's just an illusion, an absolute illusion. So this concept of sovereignty is about us reclaiming our sovereign sentient souls and extricating ourselves from this subjection to governments. And you'll often hear this term called straw man, where they essentially tricked us in a very, very tricky word play, where they've used the court system to make words mean something different than what we all in our common language take them to mean. For instance,
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth.